Oh my goodness me. And the meeting floods. Jane's in, Hazel's in, the Duxter's in. Jane, oh Jane, you're coming from a very glamorous undisclosed location, clearly. You look magnificent, Jane.
You, I'm about going to work.
Oh,
So glad to see you.
well, so you're going to work, you're on a train? You're on a train?
I'm
A
on the
bus?
bus. On the bus.
Oh,
On
we
the
can
bus.
we can we can see it. It's
You can see
amazing.
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. And hello, Fiona.
Hello, can you hear me? Can
Look,
you
I
hear me?
can. A very good evening. What are we at? About 9 p.m. in chilly Glasgow?
Yeah, actually, it's more than chilly because there's just been a weather warning, so God knows what's going to happen.
Well, we're gonna get live updates from Glasgow, Fee. So I'm just so
Yeah,
thrilled you've joined us, mate. It's absolutely brilliant. We've got Hazel in. Dougster, you're looking very scholarly and
Thank
and
you.
and very clever. Very clever this morning.
It's all a
Oh, and
facade.
are they new glasses, Doug?
No, I've had them for a while, but I
Oh,
don't
how
wear them often enough, which I should.
but
oh,
you're
look
trying
at
to
you all
impress.
in your short sleeve dresses.
Thank you,
Unbelievable, fond
Strictly.
memories.
Isn't the world a wonderful place? It's remarkable. So
It
wonderful.
is. It
Bronwyn's
is.
in. Bronwyn, you've joined us from a very glamorous location. How are you, my darling?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm joining from Japan. Been a fan of your YouTube videos for a long time, but it's my first time coming to one of these. So,
Well, we're so thrilled and excited to have you with us. And as you'll pick up, this is a very, very relaxed experience. And look, colleagues, I'm going to pop the comments up. I've put the participants up. I'm going to put the chat up as well. So say hi to everybody. Say where you're joining from. The magnificent Donna is here. You're looking gorgeous. Love a bit of red work, Donna. How are you going?
Not too bad. Messy middle.
Messy middle. Oh, I love a bit of messy middle. That's fantastic. And Josh, you look frighteningly fabulous.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Yes, in uniform.
That's a uniform. Oh, that's amazing. So look, team, I'm thrilled to see everybody here. This is terribly exciting. Let's just check that everybody is on the screen. Beck's in. Beck's in with a very, very brilliant and interesting human behind. We've got a twofer there. How you both going?
Really good, actually. And Andy's got some good news he'll briefly share with you.
Andy, tell us, darling.
Um, I submitted my honors thesis back on the 13th, and I've got conditional approval to start my PhD mid next year.
Yay!
What a way to start the gig, Andy. We are so proud of you. I feel like I've known you decades, so I'm just so thrilled because I'm aware of the journey of that. So that's just amazing, Andy. And look, this is a good time for you as well. So we're thrilled to get a bit of planning going on. The legendary Susan's in from New York City. Susan, I miss you so much when I don't see you. Good evening.
Good evening, Tara. Good evening, everybody.
And look, we are here to support you and support every human being that's here. It's been, do I just say this, Jackie Hewitt? It's been a tough year, colleagues, hasn't
Yes,
it?
yes,
Yes.
Fiona
yes.
Australian. So, colleagues, it's been
Well,
a
I was forced to retire in July, so
mate.
it's an interesting transition. Yeah, looking for work, but yeah.
Well, Fiona, let's look after you and care for you. Jackie and I are monitoring so many colleagues on their journey through their 50s and 60s, and we shake our heads quite often, don't we, Jackster? We look at each other and go, yeah, nah. Yeah, nah. So, Fiona, we're with you, and today's planning might be actually quite crucial, Fee, because we're planning for a future and a job trajectory that may be consultancies, maybe professional research, and maybe sort of preparing for a job that we don't know what's going to be available. So let's do that. So, colleagues, I'm thrilled to see you all. Now that we've clicked over to 10 o'clock, I'm so thrilled. And boy, Jackie, you look magnificent. I haven't said how magnificent you look, Jackie. You look magnificent.
Thank you, Tara. So do you.
Oh, thank you. Thought I'd go a bit sparkly, bit disco.
No.
Bit disco. So I'm thrilled to see you. And my co-author, and of course Jackie is my co-author. I'm working madly on our piece at the moment, but my co-author Matthew Crane is with us, soon to be Dr. Matthew Crane. You're looking very, very scholarly and frightening, Matt. Sound up, brother.
Yes, it was a case of Victorian weather moving from summer to winter in the course of 24 hours.
Susan, when Crowded House wrote the song Four Seasons in One Day, they wrote it about Victoria, just so you know. So that's what Matthew's dealing with. So colleagues, let's have a look who else is in. Jake is in, Sophia is in. Oh, that glamour, mate. You're looking fantastic. How are you, darling? Oh, she just nods.
I'm well, thank you. It's lovely to see some familiar faces. I love that this has become our little annual kind of reunion event.
Look, it has. It's fantastic. And look, we will make a start because we're together. It's been an unbelievably catastrophic year for the planet, particularly Susan's component of the planet that's been overshared with the rest of us. And not your fault, Susan. You're fighting the good fight, girlfriend, and we're with you. But colleagues, it's been a tough time for the economy, for social structures, for our universities, for people involved in public writing and public communication. So together, let's hang together, team. Let's hang together, and together let's use our collective expertise to help the people on this call and help disseminate our research. And we got a deal. Oh, that's what. Yeah, good to see you, Rach. So team, we will start as we always start. Cheers to you all. Cheers, cheers, cheers. That's fantastic. We'll see what people are drinking. Jane is just too glamorous to drink. She's going, I don't want to ruin my fantastic glamorous facade. So brilliant, team. Here we go. Right, so colleagues, let's do it formally. Welcome to the 2025 Whiteboard Soiree. We need to welcome all our, we won't say old friends, but our constant companions through life. I've known many of you for decades. I've known Jackie Hewitt, I think, longer than I've known my own parents. So I thank you all for joining us once more in the middle of the night. I see Andrea here, fantastic. Fiona joining us in the middle of the night. We're thrilled to see you. And colleagues, very early in the Australian. And Josh, I'd imagine, what time is it for you, Josh? 5, 6 a.m.?
5 a.m., yeah.
5 a.m. So this is what international scholarship is about. And I thank you for your intellectual generosity and your compassion and your care in difficult times. And look, as always, we will start with an acknowledgement of country, acknowledging the traditional owners of all the lands on which we meet today, elders past, present and emerging, and any Indigenous colleagues with us today. We thank you for walking with us on this journey. So colleagues, let's begin. So can I just get a show of hands? I don't know if we're on a second screen. I think we are. Oh my goodness me, we're on a sort of second screen. This gets a bit involved. Lauren, hello, Lauren. Hello, Lauren. Hello, Lauren. So colleagues, even though we've got a sort of second screen and we're a gallery view, can I get hands put up? This is your first time. This is your first time in the soiree. Oh, that's exciting. So it's about half. That's great. And so hands down. And for the old hands, the people that have been with me for a decade, you want to just go, yeah. Who's been here before? Yeah. Great. So colleagues, I'll just tell you a little bit about what we're doing here. So wherever you are on your journey, we've got very senior academics here. There are at least 3 or 4 professors in the vista that I'm looking at, very senior colleagues with all sorts of the troubles and the problems that are going on with senior colleagues at the moment in our universities. I thank you for being here. We've got, as we've seen with Andy, we've got someone who's just finished their honours degree and is bright and heading into the world of research. So we're thrilled to support Andy as well. So for our undergraduates with us, our master's degree students, we start where you are. So none of this is about, this is a normative journey or pathway through research. This is bespoke, this is customised, this is organised for you. Wherever you are is where you need to be, and we're thrilled to support you in that journey. Wonderful, Hazel. I'm loving the backdrop of those fantastic books behind you too, Hazel. That's brilliant. So what the Whiteboard Soiree is a research planning exercise. So for our colleagues that are with us, you might have a whiteboard, and why wouldn't you? Doug, what have you got? Have you got a whiteboard? Is that a whiteboard behind you, Dougster? Oh, it is. So, oh, here's one I prepared. Bloody hell, that's enormous, Doug. Doug would have the biggest whiteboard, wouldn't he? Thanks for that, Doug. Unbelievable. So if you've got a whiteboard, that's tremendous. We'll talk about how that's structured. If this is your first go at the rodeo, all you need is a bloody big bit of paper. That's a technical phrase. Bloody big bit of paper. You might have some post-it notes, and you're just going to craft ideas, and we're going to do that together, and we're going to share that journey. So let's do it. The methodology, and then I'm going to shut up and we're going to have a lot more fun here, but the methodology for those of you that came in late or this is your first go is the whiteboard has 3 sections, colleagues. The first section at the top is to be written. To be written. That's the space where all your ideas are, where you think, wow, these are the pieces I'm going to write this year. The middle bit, can I go down? Let's have a go at that. All this good and badly. The middle bit is under review. So the pieces you've written, and you've then sent them out to the forces of darkness for peer review. So to be written, under review. And the final section right at the bottom is accepted. So it doesn't mean published, but it means it's gone through peer review, it's accepted, we're living the dream, fantastic. So the argument, the methodology here is you want stuff to cascade down the board. Now, particularly at the moment, and Doug, so this will be important for you this year, peer review seems to have slowed quite a lot this year. I don't know if anybody else has found, oh, Damien's going, hell yeah, Hazel's going, hell yeah. So it's been a bit depressing, hasn't it? So there's been a lot of stuff stuck in the middle of the board, sort of like, intellectual, sort of like, ooh, I'm stuck. So the benefit of this methodology is you can forgive yourself and go, I'm doing everything I can, and we're aiming for momentum. So for our early career researchers, Andy, etc., guys, your top of your board will be very busy. So just enjoy the top of the board, get the ideas down, pick the low-hanging fruit, I'll use that dreadful cliche, pick the low-hanging fruit and write that one up. So it could be for you, Andy, this is where you think your thesis is going to go. Start to think about 5 or 6 little bespoke areas and have a go writing them up, mate. And they might become the starter yogurt for chapters in your thesis. All right, for Donna, who's in that sort of muddy middle of a PhD, Donna can say, right, well, this year I've got to try and write 3 or 4 chapters. I've got to try and write, oh, there's the whiteboard. Good on you, Donna. And look, I've got to write these 3 or 4 chapters to finish this thing. Put them at the top of the board. They are the priority, and then hopefully be able to publish them on the way through. That's fantastic. Now, how are we going? So is everybody cool? So Sophia, where are you at? Where are you at now? Have you got a whiteboard, or are you on a bit of paper?
I do have a whiteboard, but I found that my whiteboard was too small last year. So I've got my bloody big bit of paper and I'm going to give that a go.
Right. So we all need to be using Doug as the model, really. So Doug, clearly he is about size. We always knew it with Doug was going to be about size, and he needs a bigger whiteboard. So he's the model. I've done this one. I feel really, really inadequate, Doug. Unbelievable. But look, so let's start. So you've got your system, you know where you are, and there's no judgment about where you are. Let's just start. Oh, Jake, what do we got here? So you've got your whiteboard. Jake, talk to us about your whiteboard. Angel, demute yourself. And oh, I'm excited about this. Talk to me. Demute. Great.
Hello. Yes.
Hi, darling. Hi.
Hello. You probably know me better as Great Mighty Panda, who comments quite a lot.
Lovely to see you, darling. Fantastic. Cheers to you.
Yes. So I have the one. Wait, what you mentioned about taking forever for peer review. I've got one under review about cloning Hitler that has been under review for about 6 months, and I've heard nothing back from since. So I am following that up, and I'm thinking I might end up having to send that elsewhere at this point.
Look, I think that's right. I think at a certain point you call it. I have one of those, so I'm taking your advice on this. I've had one that's been stuck in the middle for, I think, 10 months and just nothing. So you're going to move on, you think? You're going to now stop that and go again?
Yeah, because I wrote that. That's actually a conference write-up from the British Society of Literature and Science. I delivered the conference, wrote it up, submitted it, and then never heard anything back. And we're already coming out to the next BSLS conference. And then I have my 3 sottles that I need to finish the teaching first. But I've got a reading group that I'm doing theory for the 21st century. I've got these two are kind of related, shock and deception in teaching theory. So I've been using intentionally lying to my students to teach really boring theory. So I'll get it's like we did Death of the Author, and I gave them a completely innocuous piece of text, told them to give me a close reading with no context. Then I told them it was written by an Austrian Jew who fled during the Anschluss. And then they gave me a new analysis, and then I gave them the actual author. It was actually the bit of Mein Kampf about Hitler's father.
Oh my goodness me.
And it led to the really interesting case of one student who had so accepted Death of the Author that she was reading The American Dream into Mein Kampf, and would not refute it no matter what. So I'm writing that up.
Oh, Jake, that's unbelievable. And look, Jamie and I, we've been talking a lot about, a cultural studies person and a physicist talking about textual systems and contextual systems and rendering the social semiotic. That is the most unbelievably fabulous subtle example of that. If we can get that through for you this year, mate, then that piece will be heavily cited. And that is so clear that you could give that to a student to understand contextual systems. That's amazing.
Because I just realized Barth's example has not been culturally relevant since decades before I was born. So my students don't care about a random French short story. So I gave them something they'd care about.
Look, I think that's so important. We've got to be generous, intellectually generous to the history of ideas, but also recognise, a lot has happened in the last 5 years, let alone the last 2, and we've got to keep our energy going and keep our intellectual culture real and productive and robust and powerful. And can I say, Jake's wonderful example there of using SOTL and SOS, that is so important. I've got some there, but you've inspired me. Please, if you're doing something really innovative in teaching and learning, Andrea, this is probably something for us to think about, mate, about SOTL and SOS interpretations. The journals are increasing as well. That is fantastic. You're an absolute rock star. Look, I was always going to go, and Damien, hopefully I'm not like destroying your life at 7:30 or 8:30 in the morning. Look, Damien's a great friend of ours. We love Damien. We all absolutely love Damien. You might remember, and we need to do a shout out for our wonderful friend Shay, who for the first year, like 10, hasn't joined us because she's travelling around beautiful Dunedin. So Shay, we love you. See you soon, mate. But Damien, if you might remember, colleagues, Damien, a year ago, almost to the day, was having his PhD under examination. It looked like he was going to get his first full-time academic job, and the whiteboard really mattered to get his dissemination organised. So it was a pretty earnest and intense whiteboard soiree for Damien. What happened, Damien?
It was a productive year. So I managed 6 submissions over the year while I was in my first teaching research mix role. And I sort of was very strategic about what those submissions were. So I was like looking to demonstrate particular skills. I was looking for particular collaboration for future grant applications. And I was looking to sort of expand into more audience research. So I've sort of got 2 of each of those. 2 of them got published. And I also have 4 that are kind of in the middle. So one's accepted and in press, and 3 are kind of in the review stages. One's I've just sent back my major corrections, and the other 2 are sort of waiting for their first round of peer review. But we're nearing 6 months on one of those, which is just, part of it. But it's been a really good year, and it's kind of set a great momentum. So I've got a plan to kind of continue this momentum around those strategic focuses and other key skills I want to demonstrate as I start to think about grant applications and DECRAs and all of those crazy things. And so I've got 10 papers that I hope to write this year.
So what does your whiteboard look now? So a year on from the PhD, I think you've written and published and under review 6 this year by memory, Damien. Is that right? Wow.
Yes.
Can we just do this firstly for Damien? Bronwyn's face nearly exploded when you went through that, by the way, Damien. I don't know if you saw, when you watch it back, watch Bronwyn's face. It went. So congratulations. So what does your whiteboard look a year after a thesis, mate? What is it, top heavy still? What's the story?
Still top heavy. I have a whiteboard, but hold on. You're gonna have to look at my dirty washing. I'm sorry. Let me just turn off.
No worries.
The
I'm
filter.
excited. I live vicariously through you. You know that.
Oh, turn off the blur.
God, I wish life you could turn off the blur that easily, Jack. Wouldn't that be great? Like I'm a bit blurry.
So you can see
Do a
the whiteboard
switch.
there. But yeah, so at the moment, very top heavy. This
Very
will all
top
get
heavy.
translated, and then I've got a few under review and then one at the end. And I've noted the two that I got published just because I want to celebrate it.
So darling, congratulations. Now, are you tired? I remember we talked about it last year. We were worried about you. Jackie and I particularly were concerned because, first year as a full-time academic, getting the research, getting the thesis out as quickly as possible. Do you feel the momentum or you're looking at it and go, I'm pretty damn tired?
I am tired, but I came from a fast-paced industry, so I'm used to kind of pretty intense work. I used to work in advertising. So I'm sort of, it feels familiar.
Yeah.
I'm being careful not to sort of overcommit, and I've started saying no to things for the first
Yes, yes,
time.
yes.
So there's been a couple of interesting opportunities, but I've had to sort of go, oh, do you know what? I can't commit to this. Even like I got an offer for like a book review of something, and I went, I'd love to do that, but actually, do I have time to read a book in the next month and get a review done? Probably not.
Yeah.
And my sort of big focus at the moment is, so I ran a conference last year and I've got a whole bunch of ideas of what we want to explore from that. So my December has become very focused on a symposium we're putting on in February about the end of broadcast television in Australia.
Oh, that's
Sort of as a
interesting.
provocation, do we need to switch it off? So very exciting stuff, but what should be a period of break, I have annoyingly gone, let's do something exciting, and now I'm coordinating a symposium for February. So
I think that's good too. And obviously, you and I had a series. We spent a couple of hours together yesterday, doing other things that colleagues will soon know about. But Damien's done something methodologically brilliant that I'll just specify, and it may be useful. And Bronwyn, we'll go to you in a second to see where you are on your journey. But Damien has done something clever. He's, he's about to hit his second year of his contract post, and what skill does he want to develop? Or further, what skill does he already have, but he doesn't have evidence for it on his CV? So Damien is selecting the research imperatives that deliver skill development for a CV, for a job interview, for the next job, for the next grant. I think that's brilliant, Damien.
yeah, and I've shared this with others, but I was really lucky in my career. I always had bosses who were good at recognizing that need. So saying, we're going to get you on this project because this is where you want to go. So we want to make sure you have the skills to do that. So I had a very lucky career in that sense. And the thing with academia is I have a great line manager and we work really well together, and she's supportive of this, but you kind of have to self-motivate those things and go, well, I now need to be the one that identifies what skills I need to demonstrate for the next step rather than it being someone looking out for me. And so I think that's a really good skill to take into this, because you do have to kind of think strategically that way and think about where you're going and what's needed to tick the boxes to get there.
Now that's brilliant. Now, for both Sophia and Fiona, in very different contexts, that's an interesting methodology for us all to deploy, I think, this year. Not that we don't have the skills, we have all these fantastic skills, but how do we prove them to randoms that don't know our name? And I think that's really helpful, Damien. Can we go to the legendary Bronwyn? Because Bronwyn, tell us about you and tell us where we're at in your writing, researching journey, my angel.
So I'm a South African who's been living in Japan for the last 20 years. I came over as an English teacher, and then my husband was working in universities. He's also South African. And so about 6 years ago, I decided to do my master's remote with the Stellenbosch University.
Yeah, lovely Stellenbosch.
And
Wow. Yeah.
so I could teach in university, and I got a position last year at the same university. So I'm in my second year of teaching, in the third year of my doctorate, with two teenage kids in a foreign country. I've got a lot going on.
Well, so you got a lot of time on your hands, is what I
Oh
get
yeah.
from that. Yes. So, mate, how important is planning to you? So, what are you going to do with this exercise? What is your top of the board quite busy and there's not much happening below? Are we trying to get momentum happening? What's the story?
I've got a couple of things. I've had a book chapter that's accepted. I have a thank you. I have I wanted to ask you like once you've submitted and it comes back to be revised, does that pop back up to be written or does it fall into a different category or
It stays there till it's accepted, Bron.
okay.
So in other words, if it's there and they go and you get, two people that love it. Where's Maddie? This was I'm in our vlog. I'm recording a vlog tomorrow morning and I'm mentioning our case study, Maddie, by the way. So don't be frightened if you hear your name all of a sudden. But yeah, so if you have two fantastic reviews and one person goes, "This is Satan. Satan, the words of Satan," then the satanic review, you do have to go, "I'm sorry, it's not satanic, it's really involving angels and so forth, blares." Then you address those, and once they're accepted, it then goes down. So the middle,
cool.
the middle category for a lot of colleagues, I would argue, Jack, we might get to you in a second, for interdisciplinary colleagues at the moment. Where's our Lauren? Bless Lauren, bless you, Lauren. But for interdisciplinary scholars, you're never going to get three scholars to agree on the interdisciplinary mix that you've configured. So it bounces around the middle till it bounces out. So it's like the middle is a pinball, 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 out.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So yeah, I've got one sitting in there that needs to be revised, and
Yes.
then I've got about three I sort of in outline phase for other articles, and then my thesis chapters. And I'm a classicist who leans towards art history, Etruscan and Roman funerary art in particular.
Oh yeah! Did you see Jack and my face? We went, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm so interested. I'm gonna be, just so you know, I'm gonna be stalking you after this gig. Can you send me stuff where I'll try and find as much as I can that you've written?
Sure.
I'm so excited I could explode.
Yeah. So that's where I am. I need to get the thesis like finished this year, submission for December, well, submission in October, Viva in November.
Wow,
Go for
mate.
it.
So use the top of the board to specify each of the chapters that are left to right. In fact, you may even want to do it by sections at this late stage, the sections of each chapter, so you get a real sense of movement and momentum.
Excellent.
Oh, you're a rock star, Bron. Oh, we're so excited we've met you. I don't know if you've seen it. You'll see it in the repeat, Bron. But Jackie and I have written down your name. We've written down the area, and we are ready to have a look at this, mate. It is fantastic. So
Awesome.
we wish you well. Keep in touch with us and let us know how the thesis goes. All right?
I will. Thank you.
Oh, this is so exciting. Look, we all, as we always do, we'll go to the Jackster. Hi, Jackie. Oh, I just get a wave.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm
How are you,
here.
Jackie?
I've got my green board.
I love your green board because I'm living in Jackie's mind at the moment. Jackie and I are writing an article together. I'm living inside Jackie's prose.
It's a horror story for you, no doubt.
No, mate, no, it's fantastic. But I reckon I'm nearly finished. I say to Jamie, I had a breakthrough today. I've worked out the argument. So Jack, darling, and we can see Fiona, and we wish Fiona all our love and all our best wishes. Where are you on the planning stage as a professor in difficult times, at your university? What's the story for planning for you at this stage?
Well, I let all the external stuff just wash over me now, Tara. I disengaged from the politics of the university and the sector a long time ago, and that would be my advice to early career researchers. And I'm going to use your words, Tara. Stay in your lane. Don't let all this extraneous stuff interrupt what you're doing. Just do what you need to do for you. You don't run over people who get in your lane. You politely push them aside.
But I think that's so important. I forget that myself, Jackster, that you got to stay in your lane, right? I think the gift of the whiteboard, why I think I went there, and you and I have both worked in these really messy environments where there's a bunch of people who intentionally go to work every day to get you out of your lane. They intentionally, through bullying cultures and all the rest of it. And the victory is actually staying in your lane and doing the whiteboard.
Absolutely, yes. Success is well, it's not revenge because we don't engage with that, but success is the best thing for everyone. So, yes, my green board. I have a book that I'm writing. You
do?
I see all those chapters that I have to write.
You've done it by chapter. That's excellent. That's
Yeah.
a brilliant strategy, Jack.
Yeah, and so as I do those, I will tick them off, and then they'll go into the 10 revision stage, which I also take from you, Tara. Yeah, 10 revisions of each chapter so that the book is finished. So once the first one is done, it'll get a little notation that that's done. I'll move on to the next. I've got 4 done. I've got 8 to do. I've got a few journal articles under review. Same problem that everyone else is experiencing. Either the desk reject when you think this journal's really good for my article. Desk rejects coming thick and fast. Never been like this in my whole career.
No,
30
no,
years
no.
in academic. And then if they are sent out for review, often the editor will come back and say, I only got one person to review it. So yeah, we're in interesting and troubled times.
But at least we've shared this, Jack, because I've been stunned this year. It's just really felt like intellectual constipation. It really has. And that's the gift of the whiteboard, I think, because you're going, oh, it's not me. I'll just keep getting stuff to the middle of the board and keep moving it through. But Jack, that's brilliant, mate. We wish you well with this book. This is so, so crucial. So I thank you for that. You are the best in the universe. Love you. Love you. Should have the piece ready by middle of next week, I reckon, to send back to you, mate.
It's all good.
Oh, you're the best. And look, we will go to some of you have heard me mention Lauren a fair amount. So Lauren, hello, Lauren. I know you're at work. I know you're busy. But Lauren, I did want to talk to you because you're an unusual case study. Firstly, you've got 5 articles on the board with me. So we are writing 5 articles together this year.
So exciting.
Well, you're stuck with me, but can I say, Lauren, I won't sort of like identify you heavily in terms of geographical location, but you're in a very, very busy full-time job. You finished your thesis this year. The thesis has become a book. It's gone out into the universe. Your first article, you saw the proofs yesterday. Congratulations, Lauren.
Thank you so much, Tara.
But darling, you're in a full-time, very busy managerial job outside of universities. So tell us about you and research and momentum around a full-time job that's not an academic job.
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. It really is. And I think what I've learned from you is really that there is a way to combine what you're learning. So I'm starting library and the regional library and looking at it from a post-colonial perspective and looking at different aspects, reading cultures and all of that. So it's a synergy between them. It's very important that what you're engaging with is inspiring, and it's inspiring in lots of ways, in a very practical way, but also the very theoretical way, and looking at it from the multiple lenses and bringing and synthesizing those aspects.
So, Lauren, are you seeing that, linking back to Damien's point, are you seeing this as a professional development? So your writing and research, your whiteboard is the PD for you while you're doing this big job?
It is, and it's also more than that. It's a little bit of the oxygen. It's the why, isn't it? It keeps your practical going as well. So I think it feeds into both aspects.
Well, I'm so lucky to have met you. In fact, we should say, Lauren, I taught Lauren, Jack, you'll love this. This is an unbelievable story. I taught Lauren at Murdoch University in 1998. And our lives sort of came back together a couple of years ago when we were talking about your thesis. And it's been such a joy and a blessing. And I get quite emotional seeing the incredible success. You're changing people's lives. Libraries are everything. Libraries are everything. And the idea that the future of libraries are in somebody's hands like yours, a brilliant, socially just, inclusive woman, it makes my heart sing, my darling.
I will get there. So I'm really looking forward to getting those 5 done in 2026.
Yeah, no pressure, Lauren. Just LG. Fantastic. Can we go to, I love you, you know that. Can we go to Mandy, the legendary Mandy? How are you, Mandy? You look like a very glamorous location. Tell us about you and where we're at, my darling.
Hi, everyone. So I submitted my thesis recently and I've got my viva next week.
Oh, my Lord. Come on.
And it's just I need to summon the focus. And so I haven't been here before, but I had the big piece of paper, so
Oh, that's
everything's at the
fantastic.
top.
Oh, this is huge.
But yeah, so I just focused on ideas as well as potential outputs from the PhD.
Perfect.
So yeah, so I'm learning all about the whiteboard. So yeah, there's a lot to go out there, but I do feel quite overwhelmed when I've seen it written down.
Right, so Mandy, let's help you from there. And obviously, Damien and Sophia may want to join me on this conversation as well, because it can get, I mean, obviously, get the vibe, and we're all going to be just have me on your shoulder going, come on, throughout the entire event. Classic, right? But after that, and I'm very happy, send me an email, let me know how it goes. But after the event, look at all the things you've written there, find the low-hanging fruit on it, the stuff that's closest to completion, Mandy. Do the dreadful business cliches, easy wins, do that. And as we said to Damien a year ago, we said, didn't we, Jack? We said, please get the thesis stuff out as quickly as you can. So focus on the research where the clock is ticking on that particular research. Get it out as fast as you can, Mandy.
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. It's interesting to think about it. I'm not a strategic thinker, but you need to be strategic to plan ahead. So that's obviously why I'm here. I'm thinking this is a great idea to sort of shape the year before you even start it. So
Look, has anyone else got any suggestions to help Mandy? Sophia, we might go to you in a second, and also Damien, but when there's a very, very busy top end of town, the top bit of the whiteboard, how do you pick, what we start with? Sophia, how did you start? When you look at your top end of your whiteboard, how do you go, that's what I'm doing today?
Look, I'm a terrible person to ask because I've perhaps not made the best decisions, but I did a ton of conference presentations that I never wrote up, despite Tara's excellent advice to always do that. And I'm seeing now that I have maybe 10 sort of 2,500 word conference papers just sitting in a folder that it wouldn't really take that much effort to convert into a full-length publication. And so for me, that's kind of where the top of my board is at the moment, just because so much of that work's already being done. So yeah, I guess the low-hanging fruit.
I think that's great. Whatever is closest to finish. Now, who is going in there? Who is talking? Talk to me. Oh, Fiona, mate. Go for it, Fee. Yeah, come on, mate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I've done in the past with working with students is quite separate from the whiteboard you've got. I usually get another document, which is basically research goals. And then, so sometimes students don't know whether to maybe they're running a range of topics, right? So I just say to them, well, what's the primary area that you want to focus on, in the next 5 years?
Nice.
What are the sort of secondary areas, particularly for interdisciplinary scholars who are trying to juggle competing interests? So I always, and then to put the papers within that grid as well. So you've got a column there, because also you need to allow for a bit of fluidity. Sometimes you say, look, I want to be known for X, and then maybe less known for Y and Z. But depending on what offers you get and what the reception is, sometimes this has an organic process. So I guess what I'm saying to you folks is don't necessarily hold too tightly to the one area you want to get known, because sometimes, like your research evolves, so do your research interests, and you might find a lot of it's about timing, a lot of it's about good luck, it's about links, it's about networks. But I think that can unscramble the overwhelming feeling that I've got 10 pieces of documents, and I think, Tara, you alluded to this earlier, you got your bread and butters. They're not all worth equal value, whether we like it or not. They're not all worth equal value. Some stuff will be easy just to, push through, like going to the bathroom. You don't have to do much with it. Other stuff takes time. But ultimately, ultimately, I mean, Cicely, I say to students, and sorry if I'm raving a bit too much,
No,
Tara.
that's great,
Like in
mate.
the
Great,
first,
mate.
in the first 2 years, you can be not so picky. If someone says, do you want to write an article on this, or do you want to do a paper on that, you can go, yeah, and see where that takes you. But as you move through, and I think universities are pushing this anyway, is you have to start being selective. They don't want you to be spread too thin across a whole range of research interests. They kind of want you to focus. So that's my suggestion. And review it. I mean, all these documents are reviewable. So you might find after a year that you might want to go back and say, well, this is my primary research interest I want to go, and the secondary, and you may kind of tweak it a bit.
I think that's brilliant. And I think what Fiona's given us there is the strategic no and the strategic yes. Damien talked about the strategic no. He's got his plan. He's got the skill development that he wants to evidence, and that's his priority for 2026. But you could also have the strategic yes. So once a year, something fabulous does happen and it lands in your lap. So you don't go, that's not on my whiteboard. I'm not going to do that. Of course, you're going to do it. You're going to grab it. You're going to grab that ball and you're going to run, girlfriend. You're going to run, right? So do that. But I think, Fiona, the other thing, and I want to talk to fantastic Hazel, because Hazel is a legend, and we're going to talk to Hazel in a second. But can I also say the challenge with the institutional metrics that exist is they can also, look at Susan, they can also hurt a human's career. So particularly if you're working in the social sciences and the humanities, and Aotearoa New Zealand, if we've got any Kiwis on the call, of course, there is no funding, you've heard that correctly, no funding for the humanities and the social sciences. There are no grants. None. So you could go, oh, well, therefore I'll just stop then. But that's not the point. You actually have to, every now and again, quite a lot, the institution is wrong. The research policy in a nation state is wrong, and your career needs to transcend the wrongness. So that's where the whiteboard is. You're the boss of you. So if you're not getting any support from anywhere, no one gives a damn, they're kicking you down the curb, you got your bloody whiteboard, you can get this sorted, right? And that's why I just want to go to Matthew, and then we'll go to the legendary Hazel, because I'm completely obsessed by Hazel. But Matthew, do you remember when we were writing the article that we've written together, and you were getting advice that, or it needs to go into this sort of journal or that sort of journal, and you were quite concerned. How do you feel about all of that now, knowing the refereeing process we went through?
Part of me thinks I should have a strategic response, but the other part says I really don't give a shit.
I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. Yeah, for all the non-Australians on the call, welcome to Australian Clarity. You can see why Australians don't run the world, but perhaps we should. But Matt, as you can see, we've got a fantastic article, frighteningly professional journal. I mean, they're so terrifyingly professional, they need to be running my entire life, I think. But at your particular university, these are the places that you need to publish. And I was wondering, as a PhD student, how you feel about that now, having gone through this first process.
Well, I think it's ironic that that's the advice, is to stick to Q1s, given there's, very little research money coming into the university. So, I just kind of think, well, one of the senior lecturers was giving me advice last week about how I should take my career, and I kind of thought, well, that sounds like a straight white man talking. Maybe I could just think about what I want to do rather than what you think I should do. So, it sort of feels complicated.
Yeah, and look, you can live your life, and this is as an old lady close to death, you can live your life by what other people think you should do and then die disappointed. Or you can actually work out, what are your ethics? What are your priorities? What will you be proud of? Maddie, if this helps from an old lady, when you're close to death, like me, ask yourself, what were you proudest of, right? What made you proud as a writer, as a scholar, as a teacher, as a researcher? And you can bet your life it ain't Scopus metrics, right? Bet your life it ain't Scopus metrics. So work out what's important. So when I'm asked at the end of my life, I'm terribly proud of these books. I've read, I think I'm at book 22 at this point. I'm really proud of those. They are snapshots of my life. No one supported me. There was no leave. There was no money. There was nothing at all. But those books stood for something. And that has mattered to me. So that's what we've got to work out with you, Maddie, in the next year or so. what is the mattering map of your academic life? So perhaps what you've got to do when you're doing your whiteboard is create the mattering map over it. What is the mattering? And let that be the punctuation for the board.
Yeah, that's great.
You rock, mate. And look, should we go to the legend of the call, which is Hazel? Hazel, how are you going? This is, your face has been like mine. It's like, this is exciting. How are we going? What's happening, mate? What's happening?
Well, I'll tell you what's happening. I co-wrote an article with my daughter, who was yes, and it was accepted and it went through peer review, and that was all marvelous. But we have decided to withdraw it from the book because we have concerns about the ethics of the publisher.
Ooh.
Yes, I know. Hard discussion to have, because my daughter's, she was 21. She's 21 now. She was 20 when we did the piece.
Yes.
Her first academic publication in a book. But it's funny listening to you talking about ethics. I mean, this is such a perfect segue because, well, first of all, I wrote the piece with her because it was inspired by a drawing that she had done. And it's not a very popular topic. We were writing about using autoethnography as a frame, as a framework, writing about my previous prolicidal ideation, which is the fancy way of saying when a parent kills themselves and their children. And then going back to my daughter, who now was 20 and had a greater understanding perhaps of mental health and mental health issues and how different I was once I actually got the help I needed. Hello.
Yes.
And then what we did was she had drawn a line drawing of me as Medea after she had seen the play. And I went, that is an amazing drawing. And I feel like shit because my daughter thinks that I'm this horrible person who wants to kill herself and her sister. And I said, that was a long time ago. And she goes, oh, yeah, no, I was just really struck by how Medea loved her children, and that's what it's about. And I said, fine. So when the call for chapters came, I thought this would fit into that. And I said, I need to ask her permission, of course, before I use her drawing. And then I thought, well, how about if we did it together? So the way we did it was we each wrote a bit of a background about our understanding of Medea and Greek mythology and women in Greek mythology, and situated ourselves where we had been when I was in this crisis. And we did that very separately from each other. Then we swapped pieces, read what each other had written, and sat down and had a conversation on Zoom, because I live in Dublin, except when I'm in Portugal, and she lives in Belfast. Yes. So we over Zoom recorded it. And sorry, spoiler alert, but it turned out that we were both talking about different versions of the play. And I did not know this until we sat down and had our discussion. And she was going, no, it wasn't, oh, I thought you wanted to kill it. It was like, because that didn't come across in the version of the play that she had seen. So I'd been laboring under this assumption that we were all talking about the same Medea, and there are so many different versions of Medea. And it was like, oh, right, so you didn't think I was terrible? She said, no. So I was struck by how fiercely you loved us in the middle of everything else that was going on. Oh, and that's what Medea looked like to myself and my sister. And I went, oh my God, now it's a completely different article to the one I thought I was writing. Or a chapter. But we have when I first heard the rumors and then did a bit of research, and I said it to Kashmira, my daughter, I said, look, this is how I feel, but it's as much your work as it is mine. This has to be a decision we make together.
Yes.
She started her master's, and it's totally unrelated. It's in city planning and design. And she's going, yeah, if that's what you think. I said, no, I need to know what you think. Yes, and she said, I'm not doing major rewrites. I don't have the time. I said, I don't think there will be major rewrites, but it's a darn strong, though I do say so myself, piece of work. So I'm literally, today I have spent 5 hours just working on that as a submission for a journal that I think it's the Journal of Trauma and Loss. So I think it will fit neatly with
That's a great journal. Can I say, Hazel, I read that journal. That is a phenomenal journal. Oh, that's brilliant. And as Hazel said there, it's important that we watch this year the caliber of journals. We haven't mentioned, this year generative AI has been everybody's, second boyfriend or girlfriend this year. It's just been crazy. And it has impacted on refereeing, peer reviewing, and also the caliber of publishers. So I'm very concerned. I certainly do a lot of work in and around publishers at the moment to see what their AI policies are. So as Hazel said, you've got to watch it. When you're saying yes, Damien, to those particularly book chapters, I'm a bit reticent to do book chapters this year. There's no book chapters on my list at all. I'm checking the journals and happy with the journals, I think. But Hazel, you're a legend. Thank you for sharing that with us. You're wonderful. Oh, Hazel, keep going, Hazel.
Can I share something else? Yes, I do. To be written. My PhD thesis has been accepted by Routledge as for a book, for a monograph. So yay! That made me very happy.
Congratulations. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful experience. And Damien, you both have got a book next year for Routledge, so I'm thrilled. I will buy both of them from you. It is fantastic. Should we go to the legendary Josh? We love Josh. I'm loving that jacket. I wish I could wear a white jacket. You look fantastic. It's just like you look like a handsome Barry Manilow. And that adjective's quite important. It's like Copacabana, but handsome. So Josh, where are we? Where are you? Tell us something fabulous, mate. I adore you. What's occurring?
I'm working in a hospital in a research department at the moment, and it's very interesting because it's different from a uni, and there's no library, so we kind of function as these pseudo librarian type research support staff within the hospital. So yeah, it's a fascinating job, very kind of third space, and I've been loving it. Yeah, I think for me this year I've been working on. There's been a new big clinical big data network that's come out in medicine over the past few years, and it's been used increasingly by people that don't know what they're doing with it. It's just sort of all the symptoms of mega fast research, prioritizing publication number over quality. So there's been this flood of flawed studies come out. So I've spent the year writing letters to the editor, doing replications, showing the mistakes, correcting the mistakes, publishing the corrected stuff. And so my Google Scholar just looks very angry after this year. So I'm trying to next year just take some time and slow down and try to dig deeper into it and write more about the systemic issues around it and try to go to the root source of things rather than going at this kind of symptomatic attack at what's coming out. Yeah, so no, it's been a fun year of being an angry person writing letters.
Yeah, look, Josh, I've had some angry years, haven't I, Jack? I've had some angry years. Remember, I wrote the University of Google, and I stayed in that. By the way, I wrote that book. I stayed in the University of Google rage for about, what do you reckon, Jack? Eight or 9 years? 8 or 9 years, yeah. So the anger does help, but then trying to find a way to, okay, the anger's gone. As you said, what's the systematic issue now? I saw Jamie is really impressed with what you've done there, because this is a nightmare, because people go on and on about the science methodology, except when it doesn't work. And studies are truncated, rushed to publication. And the problem is the way funding exists at the moment, it's encouraging that behaviour.
Yeah, and I think it's been really fascinating too, dealing with letter to the editor as a genre, now that we're post-generative AI as well. So I think for me, the peer review process for that has very much been desk reject first, and then writing an email to the editor and saying, this is not AI generated, please open the file. It is a replication study, and then them going, oh, sorry, decision rescinded. Yeah, so it's been quite mind-boggling. Yeah, but yeah, it's what the system is encouraging, and it's what
I'm really glad, Josh, mate, I'm really glad we've all got together and talked this through, because I'm sure we've all had these interior thoughts for the last year, going, "Oh, this isn't right. Something weird's happening here," and actually, this is what's occurring. So you're amazing, Josh. You're amazing. Now, Sophia, are we helping here? What's the priority for you this year, Angel? I am worried about you. You know that. what's the priority? Because you're precious to us and you're a brilliant human being. What's the priority, Angel? Come on.
Thank you. That's
I
really,
love you. You know that.
really kind. I I think this kind of goes back to what you were saying about the mattering map. And I received some really kind of life-changing advice last year, actually, from a colleague who said, you know, if you don't continue in academia, you know, because we're always advised to set a deadline, right? So you like try for this amount of time, and then when you hit that point, stop and do something else. So don't keep trying kind of forever. And she really reframed that for me by saying, if you have a finite amount of time, what matters most for you to accomplish in that time? What do you want to be able to kind of contribute and be able to look back on and say, well, in the time that I was trying, this is what I was able to do. This was the important thing for me to leave behind. That sounds more morbid. The way I'm phrasing it is more morbid than how she said it. But so I think in the time that while I still have access to the library, I can still get on the databases and access all of that wonderful knowledge.
Oh, sweetheart.
Just muted
Yes.
myself, sorry. So what is important? And so I think I'm at that point rather than the more strategic, you know, so what do I most want to say?
Yeah. And Sophia, darling one, can I just say we all love you. And can I say, by the way, any work anybody finds, just send it to Sophia. Sophia is the most amazing teacher. She's got the most incredible academic profile. And like so many of our brilliant colleagues, she's sort of stuck in the precariat workforce. And you can hear it in her voice. Most days I sit in the middle of the floor and just sob for Sophia. We needed to care for our junior colleagues much more than we have done. Academics have always had a tendency to eat our young, and you can see the consequences of that on Sophia. So that's not going to happen. And also, Sophia, the notion that there is a use-by date, that concerns me. Jack, do you want to say anything about this? Because you and I have both found we think, oh God, this is terrible. This is the end. This is the end. This is the end. And something does happen. So I've certainly known you for years when you've gone, I've had this. Have you got any advice to Sophia?
Yes. I don't have any. Oh, well, I do have a major in psych in my undergrad degree from a way back when.
Yeah.
But try to reframe it. You know, when those nasty people come at you, then it's not really thinking about what their motivations are or when the bad times happen. It's just trying to reframe that and think. I often think, oh God, I've survived so much worse than this. Bring it on, you know. So that's what I tend to do is reframe things and don't really try to think about what the motivations are. Why is this happening? I mean, we've just had several years from hell, quite frankly. We blame it on the fact that we took a rock from a piece of land. Not kidding, but that rock was the worst juju. The rock has gone back to where it came from. So we're expecting things to turn around now. But you know, we were blaming this rock, and then at one point, because of my father's heritage, I was thinking, yeah, this rock is the problem. But then I started thinking maybe just bad stuff happens, and let's reframe this. Oh, because that happened, we actually ended up having a good experience that we might have forgotten about. So yeah, just that reframing of negativity and the badness, and particularly thinking about what lessons is this teaching me. I mean, Tara, you've been through some pretty tragic and traumatic experiences, and most academics do have pretty terrible things happen to them, but we think about it in a different way, and that can really help us get through and be ready for the next time that stuff starts to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of things. Jane said, let's all join Sophia for her book launch on January 11. I think we do that. So, Sophia, if you can plug into the comments that invitation, that would be tremendous. And Sophia, can I just offer one bit of advice? Lean on us, darling. Lean on us. You know about 20 people on this call. You've just met another 30 others. Sweetheart, you're not alone. You're never alone. Send me an email, Angel, and I will read it and we'll be strategic and I'll review things for you. You're never, baby, on your own, okay? You're not. You're not. We love you. We care for you. And there are good humans out there, and the people on this call really desperately care for you. Bless you, darling. I'm going to leave you alone for a second, but darling, you're not on your own, okay? You're cared for. We love you. Can I go logging the time? Can I go to the legendary Lucinda? Because Lucinda is looking magnificent and fantastic and looking so scholarly. I just need to find it. And I'm sort of slightly obsessed by your coffee equipment behind you too. So I'm slightly obsessed by you. How are you going, Lucinda? What are you working on? Tell us about you.
I just finished my PhD, so I'm crossing the stage next week. Yay! Get my little fuzzy velvet hat, so I'm very excited. And yeah, I wanted to join today because I had 7 chapters in my thesis, and there's a lot of articles to come out of that. So yeah, I need a plan, and I've got a publication plan organized with my supervisors, and I'm using your whiteboard technique. But I was just told by our school that we can't use Elsevier, the publishing company, anymore because there's a global hoopla going on. I don't know what it is, but
it's so sad, isn't it? I know our hearts
yeah,
are breaking over that, Lucinda. My goodness
yeah.
me.
And so, because I publish in the nursing space,
Of course.
a lot of our journals are with that publishing company. So I'm having to pivot. And I've got one article under review right now that I have to sort of reconfigure and fit with a new journal. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. Yeah.
Angel, that's tremendous. And as I always recommend, Directory of Open Access Journals, www.doaj.org. And also, the only other advice Jamie and I would offer you, someone who's had the great privilege of supervising nurses in our career, is, the 7 chapters can become the 7 articles. But also, I'm thinking of Narelle, Jamie, if you can look at the chapter, and every now and again, there's 1,000 words in one chapter that is a new article. So don't think it goes 7 to 7. It may be 7 to 11. Okay,
Yeah.
so sit down with the supervisor. I'm happy to have a look too because I love doing this sort of work. Have a look at the whole thesis and go, right, well, that's an article, but that's 2 or 3. And get really, as Damien did, get bang for your buck out of the thesis.
Yeah, well, I really struggle with the word count of journals. So I'm too wordy, and I like to explain how my findings compare to others. And whoops, I'm twice as much the word count than the journal is asking for. My PhD supervisor gets out her red pen and it's like, you got to cut these words out. So I'm still learning how to, edit myself and be more succinct with my writing. But the word count of journals is what drives me. So I'm like, which one allows the most words? That's where I'm going to go publish.
That's fantastic. But can I say, Lucinda, this tip may help you. Have a dump file too. Have a file that when you've taken out these paragraphs, dump them in there because that can be the starter yogurt for something else, all right? No word is wasted.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
You're amazing. Can I finish off with the legendary Dougster? So, Doug, you knew we were going to finish here, Doug. You glamorous person with your glamorous glasses and your glamorous haircut. So, Doug, you're about to finish the master's degree. You published a book this year. Congratulations, you're legendary. Tell us what the scenario is for the next 6 months, brother.
I finished the masters, so I'll squeeze that into hopefully September. Get it done, all that by then. I want to get another article out. I've submitted the research integrity article that I started review last year. And I'm still waiting, so we'll wait. And then I'm going to start. I'll try and convert the bastards into a short monologue.
A monograph. I was going to say that to you. So you're thinking a Springer brief, mate?
Yeah, or Emerald points.
Both are good. Both are solid
Yeah.
and quick publications too, mate. So that's great. That'll be a wonderful short book for you, mate, and great for going into the doctorate from there. So that's amazing. And how
Yeah.
you feeling? You good?
I am. I am. Got a bit teary-eyed with what you were talking about 5 minutes ago with Sophia, but it's all good. And hopefully Sophia will arrive Friday morning with Mary's group, so we can have a chat and a write up together and all that. So
That's lovely.
I haven't
That is
seen her for a
lovely.
while.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Sophia has been busy. She's writing magnificently. So we are
I
so
know.
proud of her as we are proud of you. So, colleagues, I am conscious of the time. The legendary Jane just looks magnificent as always. We can't manage without Jane. She is our talisman of the universe, you glamorous creature. Can I thank you all, colleagues, wherever you've joined us around the world? We've had Japan, we've had the legendary Glasgow. We love a bit of Glasgow work. People have joined us from their working day. Thank you to Lauren. They've joined us in the middle of the night, early in the morning. Joss, you are legendary. I still want to be you and I want that jacket. And colleagues, I thank you for sharing this time and this space. And all I would say is we're about to approach the holidays and Christmas, whatever you believe in, whatever you're celebrating. And I wish you well. I wish you happiness. But perhaps importantly from what we've talked about today, I wish you a year of mattering, and I hope that you know that you matter and your words matter. And if the planet, and particularly Susan's bit of the planet, is to enhance and improve and enliven, it comes from great ideas from great scholars like you, and you change the world. All my love. Have a great year. See you in a year's time. Some of you I'll see soon again. All my love.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for being with us. You're the
Thank you,
best.
Sarah. It was
Bye-bye.
lovely.
Lovely. Pleasure. Bye.